Good evening, guys, and welcome to, I suppose, the end of the season review. We haven't had as many as we like. We will be honest, and we will hold our hands up and say apologies because we know that everyone loves the show. But we are going to obviously end the season with tonight's show, and then we're gonna hit it hard. Really give it a good go.
Yeah, we've got
Um,
some plans for close season, and hopefully this background on both of our screens, I'm waving into Mark's screen there, as you can see, will be
Hello.
a little bit different, and cameras will be better, and
Watch this space, people.
yeah,
Watch this
it will all
space.
come good in close season. We're going to have a pre-season on the We Know Nothing
Revamp.
show, and
Yep, revamp.
you'll find us hopefully on a proper podcast coming in the Premier League season.
Don't give
That's
too
about
much
all we're
away.
going to give away.
Don't give too much away, honestly.
We'll still
Transfer
carry on the
window's not open
videos,
yet.
but and hopefully we'll bring some big names from the world of football or the world of Burnley on the show again next season.
Some massive pre-season names.
So there will be some massive pre-season work, and also I'll be moving back to England, so that'll make this a little bit easier. We'll still be doing a number of them, a video cast, but maybe one or two
live ones. But yeah, so again, welcome to the We Know Nothing show, everybody. Tonight's show is going to be an end of season review for an absolutely unbelievable, fantastic season for the Mighty Clarets.
We're champions.
Easy work, never in doubt.
Champions.
Youngie, as always, welcome to the We Know Nothing show, pal. Couldn't do it without you. Wouldn't want to do it without you, as always, my mate. So welcome.
Yep. No, welcome to Mark. Couldn't do it without
always,
you either.
Pal. Always, my mate. And you know what, guys? I'm not going to bore you with it because I say it all the time. And since we've started doing the We Know Nothing show, we haven't had one bit of negativity. So I'm not going to say
lots of good comments. So thank you very much.
Exactly. You
and
guys
the reason we keep doing it is because of them good comments. So
100%. You guys are the driving force.
If you've got any negative comments, keep them to yourself. So thanks very much.
But yeah, so welcome, Youngie.
Welcome. Mark, we're going to the Premier League again.
Easy work.
How good is that?
Easy work.
3 to 5 year plan out of the window. I don't know what he does now. I don't know where that plan goes now. They've not said too much on that plan, but if you remember at the start of the season when Vincent Kompany came in, it was a 3 to 5 year working plan on getting back into the Premier League. I'm guessing it's a 3 to 5 year plan of staying in the Premier League next season and building for where we go from there, really. But promoted back to the big time, which is fantastic. And lots of things going on around the club over the last few weeks. Obviously, there's been a big send-off with Ashley Barnes. So I think we'll start there first. Let's touch on Ashley Barnes. And I think he's had his ups and downs at Burnley. Our friend, our regular on the show, DJ, he hasn't been his biggest fan over the years. I'm sure he will be happy to see him go. But 10 years at the club, what a servant.
He actually complimented him as well. A couple of weeks ago, I was on a call with him, and he I can't remember who he'd played, but Barnes had a stormer.
Yeah.
And he actually said, he's actually played really well. I wish I would have recorded it and put it as a clip on the We Know Nothing show. But yeah, just to touch on it. But yeah, I think for me, I think the biggest thing what I can say about Ashley Barnes is that when we first signed him, it was sort of different player to what we were used to, that shithousery tactics and stuff. We only never really had, a striker like that really who would really get in amongst them and really put it up the opposition and stuff like that and wind them up at the same time while give them a bit of grief. And I think
he hasn't always been first choice. I don't think he's ever been really first choice until this season.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing though with it as well, isn't it? That I think that's it's a good point because I'd like to say, I mean, the last 2 seasons under Dyche, it was just the ball would go up, he'd throw himself on the floor, would get a free kick and not do anything with a free kick, and he weren't really impacting the game, and I think that's why a lot of fans would be not very happy if he was starting, or if he were getting a run in the team. But this season though, he's been like a breath of fresh air for us,
especially after that first game. We talked about it, didn't we? That first game where he was still
the same kind of player. Yeah, absolutely.
I remember one ball straight up and he put his arms up and it goes through here and he's jumped forward and he didn't get the free kick. And from that moment, something switched in him. And he's been a different player. He's been that player that comes in and collects the ball. He hasn't been that player that's trying to get on end of goals all the time, and he's left it to other people. Like, Teller's finished the top goal scorer, but he scored a lot of goals by breaking and beating defenders there.
Yeah, but
Ashley Barnes has scored his goals in that box, hasn't he?
Yeah, and that's the thing though. But if you've listened, I mean, we've both been texting and speaking about obviously what's been going on this season stuff. But what I love about Ashley Barnes is his open honesty about the Sunderland game, when he said it was the worst game he's played probably for Burnley, and he thought his career was over there and then. And what I love about it is that, as footballers, we've never got to that standard of playing a professional football, but we've experienced that of coming off a pitch and knowing you've been absolutely dreadful and wanting to wrong the right of the performance, and for him to completely change his game in a short amount of time to impact our seasons, like impact the season that he's had, deserves top marks for me. I mean, I'm sad to see him go, because I think he's been great for the dressing room this season. I think he's been what we've needed.
I think for what he's done this season, I'd have definitely tried to offer him a 1-year contract. I don't think the money would have been right for him. And if I'm led to believe what's going to happen, it looks like he's about to sign for Norwich, and
because they've just lost Pukki, haven't they?
Yeah, so Pukki's gone, so he's gonna go to Norwich. He's probably going to get some game times. They've still got parachute payments from the Premier League, so I think if they bring in a few players, they'll go well next season. But obviously, still looking at this season for Burnley, it's been an outstanding season. To say it was a 5-year plan and we've done it in one. Where do we go next season? Obviously, in the Premier League.
Well, it's a tricky one really, because going back to previous shows that we've done in the beginning of the season when we did the predictions and stuff. I
really
said
predict
Burnley
them to go up.
I said top two, one or the other. I thought Norwich would win the league, but
when we were talking about it, we weren't.
Yeah,
we were never really.
No, not for me. I just generally thought, depending on the start we made, or depending on how many players he brought in, then it was going to take time to gel.
Yeah,
and a top eight finish would have been a good season in that sense. But
anything above Blackburn would have been a great season.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the. I mean, it's hard to put into words exactly what we've achieved this season. It really is. We've been having pundits that hate Burnley and managers that hate Burnley. Warnock, for instance, and saying we're the best Championship team he's seen in the last 25 years. That's to have them have them words thrown at us, and pundits saying they've been the best team in the league by far. Burnley fans would have never in a million years of sort of thought we'd go from being relegated last season to doing this. I was speaking to an Everton fan at work, and I was just saying, like, your boys, I think I said to him, I said, even though you got that win against Brighton, I said, I still think your boys are in trouble, because it's your consistency that you can't find. Yeah. And he was just saying, like, about, he said he said, what's been the biggest thing what company's done this season? You know what the biggest thing for me is he's reconnected everyone with the club again. I was saying Burnley would generally struggle.
Darch did that at the start, didn't he?
Yeah, when he first came in, yeah, absolutely, yeah, because he made us very tough to beat. He made us
Yeah.
durable. He, give us that, like he used to say, that strong jaw approach. But the one thing that I love what he's done is that, from working at the club, many, many moons ago, but we generally would struggle getting anything over 10,000 on Tuesday on a midweek game. I think average attendance this season on a Tuesday has been 17,000 upwards.
It's just madness, isn't it?
That's crazy.
Look,
and that's all in.
We've just had the celebration in the town, the bus tour through the town and whatever, celebrating the winning the league. And I think it's been talked about. There was up to 40,000 people that came out.
Scary.
And we're back in Premier League. Like, I think the ground's going to be sold out week in, week out next year, especially if we play that style of football. And that's one question I wanted to ask you. Is he going to carry on playing that style of football, do you think? Or will he change it? Because obviously we played that style of football with a slightly weakened team, I would say, against Manchester City.
Yeah.
And I also think maybe at 3-0, we carried on trying to play that football, but we'd lost our heads a little bit. We weren't jumping into challenges, but it just wasn't what was there anymore. And I think he got a lot out of it, and I think he'll potentially change some things about that. But for me, I think we keep the same style as long as he can bring in the relevant players.
Yeah, I think you bob on with that assessment. I'd say I think probably every Burnley fan would say that. I think we learnt a lot against City. I think our style can more than match some of the half of them teams in that division at the moment. But I think the adaptability and knowing when to play that style against certain teams and when not to play it, I think that's what he learned against Man City.
Well, we did it against Bournemouth as well, didn't we? That's
hammered Bournemouth.
That's another learning curve right there. We played two.
Yeah, we hammered Bournemouth.
Have we played 2 Premier League teams this season, or? Yeah, I think it's been 2, hasn't it?
3. We played United as well in Carabao Cup.
Oh yeah, we did. Sorry, we played United in Carabao Cup.
And we played well in that. We had chances in that.
Yeah. So beat by the 2 Manchester clubs, not as bad against Manchester United. But I think that we played a little bit better and we stayed in the game longer.
And again,
the City game, we were 3-0 down and our heads went. And then, the Bournemouth game. And I look at the Bournemouth game a little bit more because they're going to be round about where I expect us to be, at least next season anyway. If he can get 14th next season, then we'll keep going. There's been lots of talk of, a couple of seasons and Pep Guardiola goes and company goes to City. If Pep Guardiola went tomorrow, Vince and company for me doesn't go to City. Because I don't think they'd be in that position to turn around after one season in the Championship and say, "Here, this is your club."
Yeah,
I still think he's 3-4 years away from that yet, and they could be spent at Burnley, and that'd be fantastic for us. I think we've got that squad. We're building on the squad. We could have a great season next season. I think a great season next season for me, 13th, 14th finish. I'd be happy with that. Getting to that 40 point mark next season. I think this season it's been a poor season, Premier League wise. When you're looking at Chelsea sitting 11th with the players that they've got, they're in a bit of turmoil at the moment, and they're on 42 in 11th. Like that's a weak season. Like, I just think, 37 points, 36 points might keep you up this year.
Well, I think that's the biggest crook of it, of all this with Vincent Kompany for me. I think it's sort of like I agree with some of your points in if Pep Guardiola left tomorrow, Pep Vincent Kompany, I don't think would be ready for the City job yet. However, I do think if he has 2 seasons with us in Premier League and Pep leaves in, I think what would be the 25-26 season, I think it would be.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
Then he might go at that point.
I think Vincent, I think he would go then, because I think
I do think it depends on how well he performs as a manager. You've got to look at
No, you're right.
managers
Yeah, you
in
are
the
right.
league
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
Like,
yeah, you are right.
You know, Patrick Vieira at Crystal Palace got on playing well at the start of the season, and it went wrong for him. And
I think it
brought in a hold head who's turned it round, and they're 2 points behind Chelsea in 11th.
Yeah,
and they were
they'll
almost relegated at one point. So
yeah, it was just with Palace at one of them. They just weren't scoring goals. It weren't the quality weren't there. It just they couldn't find back in it. But I think the thing is with Kompany. I think like you say, I think he's gonna. I think a successful season for us next season is probably to stay up. I think and consolidate his status in the Premier League, because I think the biggest thing for us now as a club is to build. Get up in that division, attract the right players, get some, get some good players in, and like you say, build on that, like we've done this season. They will 110% strengthen.
So on that, we've obviously made a signing already. Obviously played for us this season. We've brought in Jordan Bayer. We've got his we've paid out his clause on his contract, which is fantastic. I think it was a lot of talk that it was in the £15 million mark. So if we've done that, that's it's amazing. It's a great deal, and we've got it done early because he's been a standout centre half.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dakhil has been very good as well.
Yeah,
and you can't say Harwood Bellis hasn't played too bad, but I think they've been the two standout, Dakhil and Bayer for me, and getting him over the line this early in that window.
Yeah, I think our two centre halves next season, if he doesn't sign any more centre halves, is probably going to be Bayer and Ekdal, the Swedish lad. Ekdal hasn't been playing because of concussion, but he started really well. He looked really good. So I think they potentially could be the partnership, because there's rumours going around that
he did play well, actually, didn't he? He did start well.
Yeah,
he came in for Howard Bellis, didn't he? At first,
because he got injured.
And then Dakhil came in, but I've been impressed with Dakhil for a young lad.
Absolutely.
I really have, and
I don't think we'll sign THB back, mate. I've just got a feeling that
he plays that style of football that he wants him to play. I think getting
injured
back on loan,
we won't sign him.
No, I don't think they'll sign him. I don't think he'll want him to come away from Manchester City for his future, to be perfectly honest. But
like a dress rehearsal for a minute. Can he do it in the Premier League? Can he cut it in the Premier League? And I think he can. I think we will probably
get him on loan.
Yeah, I do. I think we will. There's rumours coming out saying that they may not go in for him, but I do think that they will go back in for him.
I think it's still somewhere that we would, if we didn't go back in for him, we would need to strengthen that area. And that leads me on to my next question about where we're going to strengthen. But it's definitely an area for me that you need to add, because Bayer's been a mainstay, albeit he's had a couple of knocks. He's been the mainstay of that centre half. Charlie Taylor looks like he's going to go, so that's not going to. He's also someone that's gone and played in that centre half position at times this season. But we've still used 4 main ones in that middle. So again, it's one of them. Where do we? Where else do you think we strengthen?
I would like us to get some more legs in middle at Park. I'd like us to get another sort of. I want a shithouse midfielder. I want someone who's going to put himself about and just kick people and stuff. Like a sort of Joey Barton style. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Gary Smith, that's it. Yeah, there you go, Gaz. 95 grand a year. Yeah, he like a Gary Smith who can pop up with the odd occasional world there, but will put himself about and stuff. And I think if Burnley can get that in Midlock Park, because Jack Cork's probably not going to play all them games next season because I mean I could be wrong, but they need someone who can sort of play alongside in middle with Brownie, and
That is a place
obviously
where I
Brownie.
think you need to
We
strengthen,
definitely need to
definitely.
strengthen, yeah, definitely. But the main area for me where I generally feel like we need to get something is up front.
Oh
We
yeah,
need a proven goal scorer, an absolute proven goal scorer that knows where that net is. Because if you think of the games this season where we've just needed that goal and we've just needed, just someone at end of a
we haven't
cross
had
or
it, have
someone
we?
to. No, we haven't had it. But it's not come back to haunt us though. The only thing that it's
No,
come back to do is that if you look at the points we've dropped because the chances missed and stuff like that, and goal, we could have absolutely pissed that record this season of 106 points if we want to
yeah,
drop that. And I do think if we would have had a natural. Don't get me wrong. What I will say is, if Jay would have stayed fit, if
I
Jay
think he
wouldn't
might
got
have been
injured,
that
I reckon.
option.
I think Jay would have easily got probably 15 plus goals this season because he
Yeah,
was on form. He was doing well and he got injured.
yeah.
So I do think he would have scored
It
15
was a
plus
knock
goals
that
for the season.
kept him out for a while as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Which
that's
was
one. And then obviously you can't, as good as Jay's been this season, Barnes has been phenomenal for us. So you can't
yeah.
really, you couldn't really just say, well, Jay's back now, so you've got to come out and
And
stuff
obviously
like that.
Teller
But
came in as well, and Teller did a
yeah,
great
and
job.
Teller was playing up front exactly. So you had a good healthy predicament there. But yeah, for me, I generally think that if Jay would have stayed fit, he would have scored at least 15 plus goals this season for us in the league easily.
Let's
For
touch
me, but
upon. Obviously, we've said we want to strengthen in that midfield, but let's touch on a player that's just got the fans' player of the season and the players' player of the season.
oh, what a
Josh
player!
Cullen. He came in, as one of the first signings that Vincent Company made, and he has just been phenomenal. Like I can remember chatting at the start of the season. We were a few games in, and we were like, "This guy keeps playing at left back. He's meant to be playing centre midfield." And then he just kept
Yeah,
picking ball up at left and right back, and your right back and left back are gone. And it was just a
exactly.
masterclass. Like he'd pick the ball up there, and then 2 minutes later, he was on edge of box. Like talk about box to box midfielder. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
but
and I
it
think that's
also
the
gave Brownhill an opportunity. I think Brownhill needs to go away and strike a few balls in close season, edge at box sort of chances and stuff like that, and just practice being a little bit calmer because there's a great player inside there. And he's only young, but there is a great player inside there, and he's someone that I can see going, if he keeps up this work and, does them, works on them finer details, and works hard at them finer details, I can see him being at a big club in future.
well, he's just again like it's all down to Vinny
Yeah,
improving him as a player and giving him that belief in himself because when Burnley signed Josh Brown, that's what they signed him for, an attacking midfielder to get goals from Bristol City, and he ended up playing a defensive midfielder role with Jack Cork and
he
people like
didn't
that, and on the
necessarily
right
come in
wing.
very much, did he? Either he kept
Exactly,
coming on the
and on
right
the
wing and he come off
yeah, on the right
initially.
wing. Right.
But
He
again, it was
signed him
a
as a centre midfielder.
shown
He was
dark
centre midfielder
shining
from
and
Bristol City.
playing somewhere else. So
Yeah, but again though, like,
how good's Josh Cullen been though?
oh, mate, honestly, like what he reminded me of, and we all know who my favourite player is to play down at Turf since I've watched him, Stephen Defoe, hands
Yeah,
down. Like, and I genuinely feel like he had the same sort of. He's got the same sort of style as Defoe. That he'll piecing it together in that middle of the park, always on the
yeah,
move, always wants the ball, and he'll. The one thing I loved about it is that he made that midfield tick. He made
yeah,
that midfield tick. Without him, and he was an integral part to how we played from out from the back as well, and our
yeah.
fullbacks bombing on. Because if you watch when Ian Matson or Vitinho would play on that side, when they got forward, he would always drop into that space where they were. So it's not just a work that it has done in the middle of the park on the ball and piecing us together and keeping us ticking. It's the ball. How often is football? How often do the great managers in football say it's not just what you do on the ball, it's what you do off the ball as well, in positional sense and stuff, and that's just as important. But yeah, for me, hands down, he got my player of the season easily. I think he's just been absolutely phenomenal. I think he absolute steal for £3 million.
Who else stands out this season for you?
Nathan Teller, because he's not a goal scorer apparently. According to himself, he quoted himself as saying that. Muric, I think Muric has been a big plus for us.
But he makes the odd mistake. But if you look at the top two, what are classed as the top two goalkeepers in the Premier League that play that style of football, one's at Man City and one's at Liverpool.
Exactly.
And they both make handling errors from time to time. And the odd judgment error. The difference is they're playing with £100 million players week in, week out.
Exactly.
And I've said it before. I think sometimes the Championship gets a little bit of bad credit because it's the Championship and it's not the Premier League. But in the Championship, I believe you get pressed a little bit higher up the park. So that style of football in the Championship, not from every team, but from a lot of teams, they press hard.
I agree.
And it's also a reason why I think we've won games in the last 10, 20 minutes, because we carried on playing our football, and when teams have pressed and pressed and pressed, and we've worn them down and worn them down and worn them down, we've managed to, take them apart.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think it's a good point. But I think players that have impressed, obviously
Benson
Cullen,
for me,
Teller, Benson, Muric, Matson,
Jordan Bayer.
Bayer. I think who's impressed me a lot as well, how he's kept going and kept the lads together and stuff, and played that integral role, is Jack Cork as well.
Yeah, Jack Cork's
had a brilliant season, absolutely phenomenal season. Going off what he played last season, when we were screaming out for him to be in that team, when he should have been playing, to this season where he's led the team really well, experienced old head in that middle of the park with the young lads, keep them ticking over, and I could, to be honest with you, I could go for every single player in the squad who's impressed me. So I guess the question, what I've got from your point of view, Youngie, what has been, I know we're going off script here a little bit, I suppose, but I'm hoping that you're going to say the same thing that I'm going to say. But what has been your standout highlight of this season? So we've had so many highlights this season. What has been the main one for you?
I think, I don't know. I think the way that we've, for me, the way that we've played football every game.
Yeah.
Like, even when our back's been against the wall, even when we were 6-0 down against City, yes, our heads went, but we still tried to play football. I think a highlight for me is getting drummed by Sheffield United, because that
big
then changed the entirety of the season.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I know we
touched about at that point, didn't we?
Yeah, and I know we went on a not a great run towards the end of the season, and we should have got over the line. But the highlight for me, obviously, is winning the title at Blackburn. Like, that is there's lots of little things that I've been really happy with, the style of football, like I just said, and stuff. But, winning the title at Blackburn, and, they've all come out and said, well, you'll never win a Premier League and blah, blah, blah. Well,
the only thing they've got on us now,
in my lifetime, I'd never see us playing Premier League. And
exactly.
Guess
the
what?
only thing they've got on us. Innit?
So we've done
the only thing they've got on us.
I'm happy with it. So, and we've got one that they're never going to have. they're never going to win a championship, a title, not the championship, a championship title at Turf Moor. It will not happen.
Exactly.
Not in my lifetime, anyway. I can't see it. But that's only because we're going to be playing at levels above them. You know, they're going to lose a lot of players this season. Let's get it wrong. They've not got a bad squad and they've got some players, but they're going to lose quite a few of them. And Diaz is already on his way. You know, he's been instrumental on where they got this season. I was so made up, you know, that they didn't get the playoffs. And have I frozen? I did freeze a bit then.
You did freeze a little bit.
You know, I was made up that they didn't get the playoffs. And that's where I want to touch on next, because I'm guessing your highlight was the same as mine, really.
They were steady away, that, weren't it? Winning league at Ewood, it's average, isn't it, to be honest with you? You're joking. Honestly, mate, like, absolutely made up. Like, just, you couldn't have written it in the stars for it to happen the way it did in the last few games, how it set itself.
Because we were shocking, weren't we? Like, the games in the build up to that. And arguably, Blackburn were a better game in that game as well. But
yeah, better team, 100% better team, until Manuel pops up and puts it in top bins.
And that's it. Like, I watched a clip, and it was Benson's like 3 goals in a row, and they were exactly like cutting inside on his left foot, bending it in there, cutting inside on his left foot and bending it in there, cutting inside on left foot and bending it in there, and nobody stopped him. You know,
exactly.
I've seen it a couple of times this season where they've gone high and wide and not at all handsome, but who cares? Like, the ones that counted got us wins. So yeah, obviously there's still a promotion to be done. Obviously Burnley and Sheffield United have gone up, and there's still one more team, and it is out of Sunderland play Luton, and then Coventry play Middlesbrough. Who's your playoff final?
Middlesbrough, Sunderland.
Middlesbrough, Sunderland. And who's going to the Premier League?
Middlesbrough.
See, I've just got something about Luton getting to the playoff final now. I think it'd be Middlesbrough that get there. Can Luton beat them in the playoff final?
I mean, it'd be a great story. It would
be a great story for Luton. And I don't know. I can't not disagree with Sunderland, Middlesbrough being in that playoff final. It's just something about Luton this season. And then also, you know, the way that Coventry snuck in at the end. And Sunderland, to be fair. Results went their way, didn't they, on final day? And let's find out. But it'll be good to join one of them teams to join us, because that means 3 points next season. If it was me as well, I might be going after the striker at Middlesbrough as a Burnley fan. If they don't get promoted,
nah,
scored a lot of goals this season.
Nah,
I would.
One-hit wonder.
Nick him.
One-hit wonder.
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Sure. He's been awful up until this season. He's not done until this season.
But so's Ashley Barnes.
We're not talking about that.
No,
but no, I agree with you in the sense of, I think that's the kind of striker we should be looking at.
Yeah, but on that, obviously, we've got to a point now where we've talked about Championship. We know there's 2 teams confirmed: Burnley and Sheffield United. Excuse me, and one of the 4 teams is going to hit the Premier League in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So let's just touch on the Premier League really quickly. Who's coming down? So we've got we've got Southampton bottom on 24 points. We've got Leeds on 30 points, Leicester on 30 points, Everton 32, Notts Forest 33. That's up to 16th. West Ham are on 37, but I think a safe 37.
Yeah, West Ham are safe.
Probably going to get something else, I would say. It's not finished for them. West Ham are good enough to get something. Who goes down?
Well, in a perfect scenario for me, I'd love to see Everton and Leeds go down. But I think
Because there's
over
only
the
two
long run,
spaces left, isn't there? Southampton are already gone.
yeah, Southampton are gone. But
Not
I do think
mathematically, but they are.
I think the second one that'll go down is Notts Forest.
I think Notts Forest will get caught here by Leicester.
I know it sounds stupid to say because all the teams down there, probably bar Forest, really, have got like a more united squad in the sense they've played together for a bit longer than the Forest players have. So they've, you know, I'd like to think Leicester have got enough to get out of it, but that defeat at Fulham wouldn't have helped because they got absolutely hammered at Fulham and they were terrible. And Everton going beating Brighton 5-1, you'd think that would give them the kick up the arse, but it didn't happen with us last season with Darts in charge when we beat Everton at home, and games like that, it didn't give us anything. So I don't know whether or not it will give Everton a lift. But in an ideal world, I'd like to see I didn't want Southampton to go down. I like Southampton as a club. I think they're a great club. Shame they are going to go down. But you've got Southampton, Leicester, Everton. I think it's going to be Southampton, Forest, and Leeds that go. What about you?
I think it's the bottom three that currently are the bottom three.
Leeds, Leicester, and Southampton.
I think Everton should have enough. I don't think they've played well, but they should have enough. They've got the players, so they should have enough.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of what fixtures they've got left. Let me have one quick.
I was just thinking that myself. I want to say I'm sure Liverpool play Leicester on Monday night at Leicester, which is a massive game. And so Leicester always turn up against Liverpool.
They've got Manchester City next of Everton.
Is that tomorrow?
Sunday. And then they've got Wolves and Bournemouth last two games. So for me, they might not get anything out of the next game, but the last two games, they've got to get something out of. Wolves are safe. They're not going to pull Wolves in. Bournemouth are safe. So there's chances are you'll get them on their end of season and get the points. Forest, they go to Chelsea next, Arsenal, and then Crystal Palace. So
a tough run.
It's not a nice run, that is it? Chelsea are trying to get something out of it. Leicester, Liverpool, Newcastle, and West Ham. So their only game, I think, where they get anything from that is West Ham at the end. But I mean, get anything is the chance of getting anything. I think Newcastle are fighting for the top four.
Europe, aren't they?
Liverpool are fighting for top four.
Top four, yeah.
So, and then Leeds go to Newcastle, West Ham, and Tottenham. So,
they've all got hard run-ins.
Yeah, they're not easy ones, are they?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I think that's and I think that's the thing. What you've got to look at with it is that Leeds play Newcastle at home tomorrow, as in up at fucking Ellen Road. We all know what that stadium's like. That'll be bouncing tomorrow dinner time. It's a lunchtime kickoff, so everyone all Leeds fans will be giving it big un like they always do.
Absolutely, they will.
Newcastle, if Newcastle turn up, they could run riot because I think Newcastle are a phenomenal team, especially if Isak's on form because he's special, that kid.
I think if they win the next game, if they win that game as well, it almost puts them.
Yeah, I think it cements
because they go to 68 points then, so that I think that then guarantees them, and then it's Man United, Liverpool fighting it out for that last fourth place spot. I
think that'll be settled tomorrow. Well, I obviously I've said stuff before what's coming back to bite me in the arse, but I generally think if Man United beat Wolves tomorrow, with Man United still having a game in hand, United's next 3 games are at home, so I can't see them blow it, even though they do look knackered and stuff like that. But I think they will just get over the line for fourth. But I think if you look at the the thing about it as well is that we're talking about, like, obviously the relegation scrap, aren't we? I know that we're moving on to who's going to win the league and stuff now. But if you look at the fixtures that we just spoke about, two of the fixtures there, three fixtures we spoke about. Leeds and Newcastle tomorrow. Leeds win that, puts a dent into Newcastle's Champions League, not Champions League aspirations, because I do think they will still get Champions League football, but whether they finish third or fourth.
Yeah.
Everton at home to Man City on Sunday. Everton beat Man City. Arsenal play Brighton at home.
Yeah, frozen.
But
again, with Brighton as well. Brighton are not,
Brighton will want a response as well from being beat 5-1 against at home at Everton, so they'll come out against Arsenal, and that'll be a good, tough game for Arsenal. But then Monday night as well. Monday night, Leicester play on Liverpool. Leicester beat Liverpool and Man United win. That's probably game
blows
over.
A lot of it all open, doesn't it?
That's what I'm saying. So
a few big games this weekend where bottom of the league play top end teams that both are fighting for lots of different things. So I think it's not been a great Premier League season, but I think the last 3 games across all, top and bottom could be, can be an absolute killer for a team somewhere. And I think I am going to touch on that now. Who wins the Premier League? Obviously, it's currently in Man City's hand. Played 34, got a game in hand, still got 4 games left compared to the 3 of Arsenal. They have got left in the Premier League Everton, like we said, then they play Chelsea, then they've got Brighton, and then they've got Brentford. So again, not easy games. Also, let's throw in there a Real Madrid Champions League second leg at home, followed by Chelsea at home, followed by Brighton away, followed by Brentford away, followed by an FA Cup final, potentially a Champions League final round about that time. He's going to be resting a couple of players in the Brighton-Brentford games, you would think, because there'll be 2 trophies on, potentially.
But even if you rest them players,
no.
Squad in division.
100%. Like the players that are coming in are going to be phenomenal, but I mean, like, he's still going to be resting players that have played a substantial amount of games this season, and you're asking players to come in that haven't done that. But
I'm gonna say it right now.
And Arsenal have got Brighton, Forest, and Wolves left.
I'm gonna say it right now. At 21:37 on the 12th of May 2023, Manchester City are going to do the treble this season.
Man City.
I love how you write it down. I love that. Yeah, Man City are going to win. Man City are going to win treble.
21:37 on the 12th of May.
That's it. Yeah, Man City are going to win a treble.
Pound on that.
Pound. That's it. Get your money on it. Get your money on it now. Yeah,
it would have been good if you'd have given me that at the start of the season, but
Man City are going to win that treble.
So I agree. I think Manchester City win the league. Do they win the treble? Don't know. I don't know. Real Madrid, different animal. Man United in the final. You just never know with a City United game, do you? That's the thing. But it's definitely there, isn't it? It's there for the taking. 1-1. 1-1 with Real Madrid. Got Real Madrid at home. It's a quiet ground. Might be a bit scary for Real Madrid to come to a ground that's quiet and not many fans in it.
Nah, Real Madrid. You know what I love about Real Madrid? A nice little cheeky dig there. I love that. You know what I love about Real Madrid is their ability just to play a game like it's a training game. Like it's just another game. Just kick about, lads.
Especially in Champions League, like they haven't done it really in the Liga this season, have they? But in the Champions League, they seem to be able to do it, don't they?
I mean, I am 110% getting on the hype train of Vinicius Jr. because I think he's absolutely unreal. But let's just put this out there. he didn't get past Kyle Walker once on Tuesday night.
Trying to do that stupid flick over his head, didn't he?
That's something you would have tried when you were like younger, or that stupid body thing, that body throw you used to do. When I used to do it, I used to try and nearly break my hip.
Flip one way,
Used to
flip
like
it back the other.
go other way, like, and like sending defenders for hot dogs in East Lancs and counties. But no, I think Vasilius is going to be a hell of a player. Like, just and one thing that is improved on this season for me is his ability to actually understand the game more and not just think it's all about him and get that ball and run. Saw a lot of it on Tuesday night when he'd get down that line, he'd come back and then play the ball back in and then build again. He's not just running down the line and trying to beat 15,000 players. He's all-round gameplay. I mean, his finish as well. I mean, my God, his all-round gameplay. His all-round gameplay is just coming on leaps and bounds. But like I said, Manchester City for the treble this season. Man City treble this season.
I'll say they'll get 2 out of the 3.
Ooh, but you're not committing to what 2 are there? Are you not committing?
I think they'll get Premier League and Champions League.
You think United will be in the FA Cup?
On penalties.
What?
2-2 draw.
Hang on a minute.
On penalties. Shall I write that down as well?
Hang on, write that down. Also, can you find that note what you wrote down at the beginning of last season and just read out to the We Know Nothing show fans who you predicted would either go up through the playoffs or just go up. I think.
Where did they finish? Where did they finish? 10th. That's not bad.
I just remember. No. The funniest thing about it though was
DJ's draw went.
DJ, I'm pretty sure DJ's just picking his jaw back up now after what you said. You were like, oh, honestly. But that to me though, that for me though.
But I think he did say West Brom as well, and West Brom finished 9th.
Yeah, so you two.
I think he might call West Brom.
I think
you just went for Burnley because you're a Burnley fan.
I'm a Burnley fan, and I believed in them that they were going to go back up.
One point I want to touch on. I've got 2 more points left, really. But what do you think to JJ Watt's coming in? There's been a lot of hype around him, hasn't there, at the turf, and what he can bring. Like, he's not going to bring a bulk load of money. He ain't got boats of money. But neither has our as our consortium, and that's the sort of thing that obviously he said he wanted to look for was lots of people to invest and not.
I have no problem with that at all.
A single entity. But he's gone back to America and bigged up the club, and there's a lot of interest in America around the club and things like that now. I think we can see more investment from more American footballers in the near future.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I couldn't believe, is I think last week at some point, I think Burnley was on I think the brand name of Burnley and the club name were on 8 different New York shows or American TV shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think listening to JJ Watt talk about the club, and you know what I love about JJ Watt and what he's done. I love the fact that every time he talks about the club, he talks so he talks so highly about us, and he's very happy to be here. And he talks about us as legacy. He talks about how we are as a town, and I think he's been involved since like earlier on in the season. It's been rubber stamped, and since then he's been back and forth. He celebrated with us. He's been to the pubs. He's been to under Manor, under Culver. He's really bought into the culture, and I think that's what that's what has been amazing. And the effect that JJ Watt will have on our club is just going to be an unreal effect, because if you're any footballer now who's aspiring to, be a top footballer and really stand out in a team, you're going to be Burnley are going to be looking at all types of different players, and that that appeal from the club to sign these players is going to be unbelievable. One of the things that I did want to say to you before about I think we got a bit sidetracked on the signings things. I don't see it happening. I can't see it happening because I don't think I can't. I don't know. There's just something inside what doesn't think. But this rumor of Eden Hazard will not disappear.
I've seen a rumor today about Romelu Lukaku, mate. So
yeah. This rumor
I'm not
about
having any
Hazard,
of these signings.
Honestly, this rumor won't disappear. He's a free transfer. Apparently, a company's been having chats with him about coming to the club on a year deal and just falling in love with football again. It just won't disappear.
You think it's time for Burnley for a 10 grand and a Mars bar?
No, it'd be less than that. 5 grand in a Benny, not. I think it'd be.
Look, if there's a deal to be done wherever he is in the world, I will drive in my Skoda. I'll even clean my Skoda. I'll drive in my Skoda and I'll pick him up because, like, he's in Spain, so I'll fly there and pay for his ticket back.
There you go.
Because
Eden, if you're listening, Youngie's going to come and get you on a chartered flight.
What a signing that would be. You know, I think I'm not going to say I'll eat something if it happens, because who knows what's going to come around the corner for Burnley at the minute. It's not a signing that fits the mould of what Vincent Kompany's done. Neither's the Romelu Lukaku. It's not really a rumour. I think a pundit said it today or something, and it's, you know, gathered a bit of traction, but nothing major. And a lot of people have said, "What the hell are you talking about? Get back in your box."
100%.
We're not going to sign Romelu Lukaku. But, you know, Vincent Kompany is going to attract names, but he's also going to attract players that we didn't even know of.
100%.
Because there weren't many of them players that he signed at the start of our season that many Burnley players could say, I knew that player.
One.
You know?
Two. I would say I know about 2 players.
Yeah, Josh Cullen would have been one of them, because obviously he was already at Anderlecht and all that sort of stuff.
Obafemi for me, that was it.
Yeah, you know, probably knew a little bit of Teller purely because of, you know, him being at Southampton and us being in the Premier League and them being around the Premier League and things like that. But
yeah.
Really, like, there weren't many that stood out, you know. And it wasn't until he came in that I knew about Josh Cullen, to be perfectly honest. I didn't know much about him. He'd never been linked with the club. It's not somebody I'd ever looked into until he was linked with the club. And then it wasn't until I started reading about him once we'd signed them, really. So as all Burnley fans and all people that do this did. So it's a weird one, isn't it? Who knows who he's going to bring in? I think, you know, like I said, we've got Jordan in. I know he wants to try and get Teller over the line. And Ian Matson as well, I believe, is the other one that he's trying to get as a definite over the line. And, you know, you'd be happy with them 3 coming in but not starting the season like that. We need to add a few more. And I think that's what we're going to do. You know, we've still got some money in the pot. Debt's all paid off. We're going to get money for going up. I'm pretty sure they're going to allow him to have an amount of that money.
Well, sources close to the club and stuff, what I've been hearing and stuff like that, are saying that they're going to go big in this window. Not a stupid amount like Notts Forest did, but they're going big.
Look, I'd be happy if we spent 50 million because of the team that we've got already.
Yeah,
and you're building around that, like,
because it just needs a couple of sprinkles here, there, and everywhere in that team, and then all of a sudden you've got a team that can compete in that division. So,
and like you say, we do need some. We need some Premier League. I believe we need some Premier League experience. Whether that's a fullback, a centre back that comes in and is a Premier League experience that's going to play on the fringes and give the players that are there, that Premier. But obviously, we've got Vincent Kompany, who is arguably one of the best Premier League defenders of all time.
Yeah.
Look, put your boots back on, Vinny. Play back in Premier League next season. Why not? Wouldn't surprise me if he couldn't still do it.
Can you imagine? Player manager.
He's only 37 years old or 36 years old.
He could definitely still do some, I reckon.
So old I am, mate.
Not talking how old I am.
A little bit older than that. But you know, I think we're almost there, to be honest, with everything that I wanted to touch on. Where numbers wise do we finish next season?
I think between 10th and 14th, I'd say.
Yeah, my number's 14th. I think I'd be happy 14th or 40 points.
100%.
14th at the minute, it's on 39 points, Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'd be happy at 17th, but I don't want to be scraping through another season. The style of football might mean that, but also the style of football might mean that we finish 8th, 7th, 6th. You know,
exactly. You just don't know with this team.
You just don't know. The style of football might mean that we lose every game until he changes it. But yeah, I just don't know. So one more point before we both say that we're champions, and that's the end of the We Know Nothing show for this season. Maybe not. Maybe we'll do another show later on. But let's talk about Haaland at Manchester City. This lad came to the Premier League, and there was a lot of speculation around where he was going to end up. Obviously, he's ended up at City, and wow, for somebody that touches the ball like 3 times in a game, he doesn't half score some goals, right?
Let me tell you something, right? One of our good mates on this show, Martin Hartley Howarth. Martin, I am not digging you out on this podcast. What I like about you is the fact that you put your hand up and you was humble enough to say, I got that wrong. At the beginning of the season, when Manchester City signed Haaland, I said Haaland would get over 30 goals this season, easily, over 30 goals. Martin disagreed with me and said he's coming into a new league. He'll be lucky if he gets 20. A couple of weeks ago, me and Martin had a chat, and Martin openly said, how wrong was I about Haaland? The guy's not human. Haaland is a unique player. He reminds me of Ruud van Nistelrooy for his selfishness in the box, for his ability to score goals. But I am telling you now, there is no one in that division at this present that can get to Haaland over 10 yards when he gets going.
No,
the
way that he accelerates over them first few yards is
it's just scary.
How he puts that power down is unreal.
It's just scary. It's not human.
He's averaging 1.26 goals per 90 minutes at the minute. When I read these stats, it was 33 games and 35 goals. I written for last week. We didn't get around to doing a show. It's now 34 games and 35 goals. And he's now the all-time goal scorer for a season in the Premier League, which has done Alan Shearer and Andy Cole, who both got 34 goals but played in a 42-game season.
Yeah.
He's got 35 goals and still got 4 games left. Like, I know a lot of people talked about him playing against Real Madrid and blah, 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 blah. Like, good, Real Madrid kept him out. Like, great. Do it again this week. And Rudiger's done a great job, but why didn't he do that when he was in Premier League? Like, I get he was a decent player, but could he hand Premier League strikers week in, week out? Nah. Can he play with dog and duck strikers week in, week out at Real Madrid? Well, actually, he's done it a few games, but he struggled actually this season, hasn't he? Because where are they in the league?
Exactly. Just phenomenal.
Quite some way behind
Barca.
behind Barcelona, this season. So, it's one of them. Great. You can keep your players healthy. Why do you think these teams like Real Madrid, Barcelona are always there or thereabouts in the Champions League? Because they play against teams where they've got a league of 6 teams. And it's 6 teams now. When Real Madrid were phenomenal in the Champions League, they were playing against Barcelona. That was it. Everybody else was crap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. I think they had a spell, didn't they, where Atletico Madrid come good, and it was like a free horse race for first, second, and third for a few seasons.
Atletico are still there or therearabouts, but
they're all 100%. They're going to be there and thereabouts. But no, I agree with you. I feel like we've for a football show, let's call what we are. We're a football show. To be talking about a player that has come into his first season in the Premier League and English football, and to get 51 goals in all competitions, and he could still get more. I said, I think I said it a few weeks ago. I think he'll get 60 plus goals this season.
Yeah, so
he's got he's got possible 6 games, is it? In 7 in all competitions, including the 2 finals. If they get, obviously they've got 1 final.
Yeah, so it could go up to. He's got 4, so it could go up to 6 games. No, he's got 5 games left, including Real Madrid. Sorry.
Yeah.
So 4 in the Premier League, 1 in the Champions League, and then he's got an FA Cup and then potentially a Champions League final. So 7 games in all to get from 51 to, I think he needs 64 to be the all-time goal scorer.
Yeah, to take over Dixie Carter, innit?
Yeah, I think it is. But what 4 hat-tricks he's got this season as well. Like, it's not as if he's gone and bagged a stupid amount of hat-tricks. And there was some silly stat about Alan Shearer in his 34 goals he got. I think 20 of them or something like that were penalties. 15 were penalties. And Alan Shearer was phenomenal. So, how good is Haaland? Like, phenomenal. But I think we've come to an end, mate. I think that's my pages nigh on finished. Just champions. That's all I can say.
What I want to say is this season for the We Know Nothing show, we've had us highs, we've had us lows, we've been mucked about, we've had certain things not come to fruition. But one thing I will want to say, and from the bottom of my heart, for myself and Youngie, is that thank you so much for the support that you've given us this season. Thank you for getting on board. Thank you for providing the comments. Thank you to every single guest that has come on the We Know Nothing show this season.
Absolutely.
100%. To have two best mates who just started as a bit of a joke and a bit of laugh, to carry on like we've done. We have missed a few, we will admit, but we have had things going on.
I moved to Northern Ireland.
Exactly. So blame Younger. But yeah, thank you so much for getting on board. Watch your space. Big changes coming. Obviously, with Burnley going into Premier League, we need to be a Premier League show. But yeah, Younger, as always,
putting stuff out for potential sponsorship as well of the show
well. If you want to get involved.
If you want to get involved in any way, we'll be putting thing out for you to sponsor the show. But also, just watch your space. We've hopefully got these big names lined up. Like Mark said, we've had a few letdowns this season where we've potentially had people lined up who've decided to pull out at last minute. Some for valid reasons, some for no reason at all. There's been times where I've been sat here waiting for someone to come on and they haven't. But it's just one of them. But like Mark said, we're grateful for every single person that came on and every single person that's left a comment, shared the show, liked the show. And this might not be the last one before the end of the season. It is what we would say our finale, but for this season. But just watch this space. Who knows? We might get back together before end or do some pre-season stuff.
100%. But like I said, we are champions of the championship, 101 points, the 5th best team to compete in the championship points wise. So let that sink in.
21st best team in the country, supposedly, as Vincent would say.
Says, as Vincent likes to say, absolutely. But yeah, enjoy the off season, guys. Enjoy the pre-season. Enjoy the hype of getting the players in. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, watch this space, Youngie.
Absolutely.
Take
Mark,
us home, son.
Couldn't done it without you. What season it's been for the show and for Burnley Football Club. And we'll catch you either in close season or for the first game of the season. But we'll then start announcing signings the moment that we see them and things like that. We might do a little lives and stuff just to chat about them and stuff. So yeah, watch this space. Thanks for watching the We Know Nothing show.